Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel for another flea market find segment, and this is going to be one of the final two videos for 2024. These are both going to be videos for the Thompson Speedway swap meet. It's a 3-day event. It goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I shopped 2 of the 3 days, Friday and Saturday. This video is going to feature all the items that I bought on day 1, and then there'll be a follow-up video which will feature the items I went back and bought on Saturday. But let's dive right in. So first item I bought, spotted this Starrett box, and turns out what's in here is a Model 529 Starrett mag base. I think I called this a 529 mag base. It's a 657. This is the push button style. And first thing you're going to check on these when they have signs of corrosion or rust like this one does is you're going to make sure that this thing moves freely. Now these can be serviced lots of times, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to remove these tiny rivets here to get this faceplate off, to get the to get these apart. But this one seems to be working, and I only paid 15 bucks for it. So even with the light rust that's on it, the snugs, even though they have some light rust, indicated they're not frozen solid, so they're still serviceable, and came even with some paperwork there in the box. So 15 bucks for that. Second purchase I got was actually this Huot drill index. This is a fractional drill index, and this is not the original color. This originally would have been gray, and somebody painted it this brown color. I don't know why, but it's still a good serviceable box, and I got this for 20 bucks. This would be more like the original color that would have been on this originally. But these are handy little drill organizers, so when I can buy them for 20 or 25 a piece, I usually will pounce on them. Next time I put together this little group of items here and got them for 30 bucks. And let's start here with the obvious Starrett item. This is a Starrett 0 to 3 inch depth mic. It's got a little bit of surface rust on here, but it does work perfectly fine. The rest of it seems to be in pretty good shape, and the case is a little rough. But I got that, and in this cheap Chinese caliper case. So it's a cheap Chinese case, but it actually had this nice brown and sharp. It's an old one. It's a little dirty looking, but it works perfectly fine. And this is a perfectly usable dial caliper for somebody, and it'll go cheap. This clearly was for a Chinese digital caliper, because there's a place for the battery right there. But better a cheap case than no case, right? And I found these 2 gauge blocks amongst the stuff that was there. It's a 750 thou. I think this says DG company. And this one's a 500 thou. This one is Van Kuren company. When I find random gauge blocks like these, I usually can get them for next to nothing. I usually get these kind of thrown in for free on deals like this. And I just have a place where I keep a whole bunch of them together in a box. And then if I get a gauge block set that might be missing 1 or 2 blocks, I might find that I have an extra one. And yeah, sure, it's not going to be a proper set any longer, but if you have a gauge block set that's missing a 500 thou gauge block, better to have at least something in there than nothing. And with a little persuasion, I can actually get these gauge blocks to ring, as they call it. Ring is a term meaning that I have gotten both blocks to stick together, which is an interesting property of a good pair of gauge blocks, that they're able to do that. It's not magnetic. It's actually a whole nother deal. I could prove that by if I just lightly put this on top. It's not picking up because it's not a magnetic property. What I'm doing is I'm actually twisting them together to force any air out, and voila. And last in this lot for 30 bucks was this couple of random pin vices that I found. I think they're both Starretts. Yeah, it's a size B and a size D. All right, next up, found this boring head at a dealer's table, and there's no name on it, but it does say, it's kind of hard to see, but it says made in Yugoslavia on it, right over here. It's on an R8 shank. It's a decent size one. I just checked, and it seems to rotate correctly for adjustment. Doesn't seem like it's all, worn out, so should be a usable boring head for somebody. Got that for 20 bucks, and from the same guy I got this. He had this V-block clamp, which I took a look at it, and based on the casting and just the look of it, I figured it's either a Brown and Sharp or a Starrett. So I gave him $5 for this. He probably had no idea what this even was, but it's a larger one, so if I do have a V-block that this will fit that's missing a clamp, that'll be worth it to me. Then I got this pair of vices from a guy for 30 bucks for the pair, so I'm into these for 15 a piece. Kind of decent looking precision vices. This one, it's got this interesting, I actually thought this was loose at first, but this is actually by design. This is just a pin that sits in here. So I'm not sure why somebody would have designed it like that. And the guy who made it, he put his name on it. This might have even been a high school, Voc-Tech school project for all I know, but it's a decent looking little vise for 15 bucks. Looks like somebody at some point was doing a little bit of TIG welding on it. Had a small part in there that they were working on and inadvertently started the torch on there. And then this one is a little cleaner. It's got a little cut right there. Looks like maybe a grinding wheel touched off on that at some point. Nice little vise. And then a guy had this thing, and I got it for $5, and I've never seen one before. So caught my eye because it's cast. It's almost like a standoff or a parallel, right? So I don't know, it just seems really well made. Now it's marked on the bottom here. Looks like it says K Winter, which I assume is the name of the person who made it. 10/29/52. Just kind of a neat piece that somebody made. It looks like it was a casting and then they machined it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. Just thought it was too neat to leave there for $5. Next up, I bought this As Is Mitutoyo digital micrometer for $10. I never pay a lot for these when they're not working or when they don't appear to be working, because oftentimes people will say that probably just needs a battery, and then you go home and you find out you put a battery in and it's junk. So it's kind of a big risk because these are non-repairable. So anyways, took a chance on that for $10. We'll try a battery in that in a moment. First, let's look at some of the other stuff here. This is a little Brown and Sharp 0 to 5 inch mic. The little Starrett 0 to 5 inch mics are kind of neat and still bring decent money. I'm not sure what this one's going to bring. This is a very early Brown and Sharp. Looks like it's a number 14. This actually has this has an early patent date on it. You can just make it out there. Using my camera to magnify it, I can see that that's a patent date of January 22nd, 1884. That's an early one. And it looks like the original owner engraved it. It says S.J. Seaman. I believe this is supposed to be a ratchet thimble that doesn't work, so other than that, for the age, I'd have to say it's in excellent shape. I also scored this Starrett telescoping gauge set. It's a 579 set. It's a complete set. It's got a little bit of light rust corrosion on it, but all of them move freely except for this one. This one's seized up, and it's the one that looks like it has the most rust on it. But I have extra ones of these, and I'll go through my my spares, and I'll see if I have one I could sub that one out and make it a good set. But I only paid $5 for that. And I also only paid $5 for this funky indicator, which I have so many dial indicators now. I'm really picky about what I buy. But I bought this one because it's a brand I've never seen before. It's Link Engineering Company. It's a model J380-1. It says it's fully jeweled, which means it actually has little tiny rubies for bearings in it. And it's got this neat little sub-dial. A little bit different deal there, the way that works. Instead of having a secondary needle or pointer, it's got a little wheel. So I just thought it was kind of neat. It seems to work perfectly fine, but there's no spring inside, apparently. But it's interesting the way this is made. So on a lot of these, you would find that there's a cap that screws on the top here, and then there'll be a spring inside the cap for the return. But this one clearly never had anything screwed to the top. There's no place for anything to screw onto. So I don't know if this is a bi-directional indicator, and that's why it's that way, or it could very well be that there's supposed to be a spring inside that has stopped working. And then it also had this nice little quick clamp on it. Of course, what trip to the flea market isn't complete without me scrounging some vintage CB stuff. Picked up these two microphones. I think there were some other ones there, but these caught my eye. He wanted $5 a piece on the microphone, so I pulled out these two for $5 a piece. And the reason why I grabbed these two in particular is because these are both pre-amplified microphones. In other words, these both have circuitry in them that you put a battery in there and it operates a pre-amplifier circuit to give you better audio. This one is an Astatic, which is the company that makes the D104s. So this says Astatic world famous radio mics. And this one is kind of neat because it's a Midland brand preamplified microphone, which I don't think I've ever had one of those before. So it's even got a squelch control on the side, which is kind of funky. So I don't know how they're doing that. Well, guys, looks like the joke's on me, maybe. So there's my microphone, and so the Midland 13-955 microphone is actually for this thing, which is the Midland Model 13-955 CB transceiver head. And the reason why they call it a head or a remote unit is because this little box here is not the whole radio. So see on the side here, there was a wiring harness went into a big plug right here on the side, and that allowed you to remotely install the rest of the guts to the radio somewhere else. So this is not a power microphone after all. It's the reason why it's got a volume and squelch control on the side is because it's literally allowing you to control volume and squelch from the side of the microphone. So this probably would have been used in like a motorcycle setup back in the day in the 70s. Here's one currently on eBay, and it looks like it's complete. So you can see there's the microphone, there's the cable harness that goes up to the head unit. So unfortunately, this microphone is probably going to be pretty useless to me, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if it really has any value. Speaking of vintage CB radio stuff, spotted this radio and it caught my eye because I've never seen one before. This is a model, Uniden model Bear Tracker 885, and had the original microphone with it. Even has a little Bearcat paw print there logo. But what this is a combination scanner CB radio. So it has a police scanner built into it with a CB radio all in one. It also has an SD card slot, and there's even an SD card in there. That's actually an SD card adapter. Is there a card in there? There is. Oh, a whole 8 gigabyte. All right. On the back, we can see that it has the regular PL259 jack for the CB antenna, but then it also has a BNC connector for the scanner antenna. And it's got the PA external speaker. It's got the pretty standard Uniden Cobra type of setup here for the power cable. So Power cable was missing, but that's easy enough to replace. Actually seems like it's in decent shape. It's Vietnam, made in Vietnam. It even has a RJ, what was that, like an RJ211? I can never remember the numbers on these, nomenclature of these connectors here, but it's got one of these type of like phone connectors, and it says GPS. So this is kind of an intriguing little funny radio. And so I got this for $10 with the microphone, and he threw in this antenna he had sitting there, which I don't know if this has ever been used. If it was used, then they kept the packaging, but I think it's never been used. No, this has never been used. So won't quite fit in the frame, but what this is this is a Wilson FGT4 5/8 wave mobile antenna. What this is this is a ripoff of the Fire Stick antenna from back in the day. Back in the day, there was a very popular antenna of this style called the Fire Stick. To tune the Fire Sticks, you would take the cap off the end and you would trim the wire to length to get the proper SWR for your setup. This one, interestingly enough, has this little doohickey on the end there that I think you turn to actually tune it. And then when you're done tuning it, you put the cap on. Yeah, Wilson antenna, the silver load, it says here. There's even an 800 number on there. Oh, there's the little Allen wrenches in there. So yeah, I don't think this has ever been used. So kind of neat. That's probably worth the $10 to somebody. But I just thought the radio was intriguing. So guy had a bunch of old rusty junk out on blankets and stuff, tarps and that on the ground, and I spotted this thing and took one look at it and realized what it was, and ended up getting it for $8. And what this is this clamps onto your workbench, and then it gives you a base to mount different types of heads used in sheet metal work. So they have like seaming heads and edging and I don't know what the heck, but I'm not a sheet metal guy, but Pexto in particular made a bunch of these, and then there was other companies also. I don't think this is a Pexto mount because this hole seems smaller because I've got a Pexto one. So I don't know who made this. The little cross part of the handle here is missing, and this is locked up. But for $8, I figured it was worth taking a chance on it. This might end up being something that would be a good eBay find, a good eBay sale item, because if somebody needs one of these and can't find one, they'll pay a lot more than $8 for one. Then again, it could be a bust, I don't know. Got this for $1. I mean, how can you pass up something that says Snap-on on it and it only cost $1? What it is, see, when I first bought it, I actually thought, oh great, this will be really handy. This would be great to put on my bench, and I thought it was for holding T-handled Allen wrenches, right? Or hex wrenches. Well, now that I have it here in the shop and I looked at it more closely, up here it actually has Torx bit sizes, T50, T45. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. But then down here it does look like maybe it is for Allen wrenches. 3/8, and then it looks like it alternates between that and metric, so 3/8, 10 millimeter, 5/16, 8 millimeter, so on and so on. So I don't know. I'll find a use for it. Next up, I got this little can't twist clamp. This is a number. What number is this? This is number 2. This is an early one because this is Saxton number 2 can't twist clamp, but it's in good shape. And then he also had this little parallel clamp. Don't think there's a name on this. Decent little parallel clamp. I got these 2 items here for $5 for the pair. And then guy had these new old stock Stanley tape measures, and what I thought was kind of interesting about them, caught my eye, was that they are metric 8-meter tape measures. So yeah, you can see that they're broken down there in metric. They're brand new, so I figured, well, what the heck, if I can buy them cheap enough, I'd take a couple and see if I can't resell them. So
I asked the guy what he wanted for a price on them. I forgot exactly what we started at, but we ended up settling on that he would do 2 for $5. So $2.50 a piece. So I decided to take 4. And there was a guy here there standing next to me who overheard the whole conversation. No sooner did I buy 4, and he was like, hey, the guy was like, do you think I could buy a couple? So I don't know. We'll see if those end up panning out to be worthwhile or not. And then I got these 3 items off of Guy for $40 for this lot of 3 items, which this right here is Brown and Sharp. I figured $15 of it is this right here. This is a Brown and Sharp depth micrometer that it's got some areas of rust on the rods, but the rod is not stuck in there, so it will come out. The micrometer itself seems to be working perfectly fine. It's got a nice little narrow shoe. Somebody might want this just for that. Got the micrometer adjustment wrenches, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rods. So this is a 0 to 6 inch. This is the second item that was $15, and this is an old Mitutoyo inside micrometer, and it is a complete mess because of the foam cancer that Mitutoyo foam turns into this dry, dusty material, which, if you're lucky, it doesn't stick to the item and hold moisture against the item and cause it to corrode. These actually look like they're in pretty good shape. So this whole horrible looking mess in here won't take much to clean all of this foam out, re-glue in these blocks that tend to come unglued with age, and put this set back together, and maybe put a little bit of alternate foam in the lid there to keep it all together. But I mean, there's a lot going for it here. It's even got the half-inch sleeve right there, so I'll spend a little time on that and get that going for $15. Not bad. So that was $30 right there, and that leaves $10 for this mystery item. I paid $10 for this, and the guy couldn't tell me what it was, and I had kind of a guess based on what I could see. He tended to think it had something to do with refractory measurement. So in the box it comes with this collar. Seems like it would fit on there pretty well. Not sure what this deal is here. So yeah, this is a real what's it item here, guys. So on this end, it's almost like a really old microscope eyepiece. It's nice brass. So this has got some serious age to it, whatever the heck this thing is. On here it says quality through continuous improvement, J.T. Slocum. Oh, okay, so the micrometer manufacturer. It says date December 26th, 1992. So that was, it was calibrated then, but I think the actual item itself is earlier than that. Somebody engraved JTSF 0110 on here. So unfortunately I can't show you what it looks like when I look through this, but what I see is actually a graph of lines with graduations and numbers, starting from 0 on the left to 6 on the right. So it's a mystery to me what the heck this thing is. It's got plenty of mold going for it. Google Lens to the rescue. Took a photograph of this, used the Google search function, and boom, there it is. No doubt about it. This is a New Age King test portable Brinell hardness tester. And then it says calibrated with something, I don't know what. Oh, okay, I said way too much there. So when I click on the link and take it right so I can see the whole photograph, there is the New Age hardness tester, and there's the scope. So they're talking about that The new age King Test portable Brunel hardness tester is this device, and then they're saying it's calibrated with a scope. So, what I appear to be missing here is almost like a pen light that goes in there. So that's unfortunate. There's like another advertisement for there, the Brunel Deep Reading Microscope. Yeah, I'm guessing there's not much value here. I might be lucky to get my $10 back, actually. It's kind of an interesting, neat scope, but being that it's, to be used in conjunction with a hardness tester that I don't have, and on top of that, we're missing the light source that goes in here, which I mean, you could fabricate one up, but I mean, what's the point, right? So, oh well.
Well, let's see if this Mitutoyo micrometer is any good. It takes LR44 batteries. I don't have any new ones, but this one is a used one. It's still got some. Let's see what happens. Well, it came on. That's a good sign. Nothing happening here. Oh wait, it's blinking. I don't know why these buttons are so recessed on this thing. Let's see. There you go. Yeah. This might be a working micrometer. Indications are it is. This must be probably the mode. Yep, there we go. Millimeters. That's nice. This must be how you zero it. Now, why does it go back to that? What is that feature? I don't know. There's a blinking something there. When you zero it, it goes to that, and it's actually holding whatever the reading was. If you hit it again, then it goes back into operation. Pretty basic model. There's a place for a third button here that doesn't exist on this one, so I'm sure in other models you've got more functionality. The main thing to take stock of here is that you've got 5 digits after the decimal point. So that's some serious resolution that this thing's capable of. Or at least it was when it was new and the carbide faces were pristine. And close this all the way down. I didn't clean the anvils before I did this, so this isn't a really official test, but just for the heck of it, let's open it up. And let's close it back down. .00010. Actually, just give it a little bit more of a snug. That's why the friction lock is on here. This is supposed to control how tight you tighten it onto something, but it's actually slipping a little too much. I don't know if that's adjustable on these or not. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to sell it the way it is, cheap. So there we go. So the only thing left to do now is, since there's no off button, is to see if it goes to sleep like it should, which I have no reason to believe it wouldn't. Everything else seems to be functioning perfectly fine. So this little Brown & Sharp mic, being that it has a patent date of 1884 for the year, intrigued me, and I was wondering whether or not it might be a rare collectible. Well, I don't know, but this one right here on eBay, it's a number 7 pocket micrometer, but you can see from the size with the ruler there that it is one of these little shirt pocket micrometers. But this one does not have the ratchet thimble. It's a number 7. They advertised it as an extremely rare number 7, same patent date, January 22nd, 1884, right to the day. And because, of course, that patent applied to several probably models that they made at the time. But anyways, this actually sold for $320. This was in the sold listings. So apparently this actually sold for $325. It wasn't an auction. Somebody just decided to plunk down the money and buy it, I guess. But it's interesting because the description, he says, pics tell the story. If you're a collector, you know one like this does not show up anytime in the near future. It's the Holy Grail. Well, I don't know. Because here's another one. Here's another one with a patent date of 1884. But this is a regular sized 1-inch micrometer, so this is much more common. That sold for 20 bucks. You know, there's a saying that, you know, it's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? So maybe the thing to do is just maybe throw it up on eBay. Although I know what I'm going to end up probably doing is probably putting it in my Gerstner box where I put all my other little tchotchkes of rare and unusual, you know, pedigree. So